Hey, Amanda, I was looking at the Omen movie, and I wondered if letters can turn into numbers, and vice versa.
What number specifically?
The number of the beast, 666.
My father, who is a member of Guayaquil's Rosicrucian Order, told me that the 666 is a reference to Roman Emperor Nero Caesar. Also, some manuscripts mention that the number is 616. But 616 is also a reference to Nero Caesar, so
I decided to search if Hebrew letters can be turned into numbers. And I found that gematria allows to reckon the number of a word, and vice versa. So I only need to find a word in Hebrew, whose number is 666.
have you find that word you said?
Not yet. I will search it today at home. Hebrew letters are Shin, Samech, Vav.
Everything its fault of the judge of the just cause.
This is the anathemasim.
Peter is for Jesus what Judas is for.
The Antichrist! The Antichrist! The Antichrist!
The Antichrist and the artificial intelligence.
So, what was that dream you had?
First I jumped on Lucius Malfoy, Draco Malfoy's father.
Dude, I've never heard of him.
Draco and Lucius are both characters of Harry Potter's movie saga. Lucius told me that the world destruction was God's fault, and Lucius called God as the judge of the just cause. Fercho, your father is a lawyer. Did you ask him what judge of the just cause is?
Sorry, Joshua, but my father never heard of any judge of the just cause. What about you, Amanda? Do you know what that term could mean?
Nope, I don't know. But maybe is what Joshua says. Who is more just than God?
And Josh, what was the other dream you had?
I dreamt of Judas Iscariot, as he was a teacher. The class was full of kids, and Judas Iscariot asked the class, "But Peter is for Jesus what Judas is for?" And the kids replied, "The Antichrist." And the kids replied that in a creepy way 3 times.
Dude, you are creepy as fuck. What was that word with the 666 gematria you found?
Shoshez, that's the word. I asked the rabbi for the pronunciation. Of course I didn't tell the rabbi that the gematria of that word was 666. He said that probably it was an internet acronym, or a variant of the Shushan Purim. Shushan Purim is a holiday in the Jewish calendar, so I placed the word pronounced as Shoshez in the Google Translator. And the translation of that Hebrew word into Latin was Lucius. Lucius like Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter. Lucius, that video game, where Lucius is the Antichrist, Satan's son. But Lucius was also the name of Nero Caesar. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. At that point I remembered what Amanda told me.
My father, who is a member of Guayaquil's Rosicrucian Order, told me that the 666 is a reference to Roman Emperor Nero Caesar.
The Antichrist and the artificial intelligence.
I am intrigued by all this dreams I had.
What have you found at your research?
That 3 Hebrew letters that allow me to reach the 666. Shim that equals 300, Samej that equals 60, and Vav that is 6. Guys, you are both geeks as fuck.
Hey, who invited this creep?
Your mama! Fercho, I invited Gabo. Well, as I was saying, I also placed a word that phonetically is shoshes, but a rabbi at Quora app told me that shoshes ain't a real word. Dude, that really creeps me the shit out! But I have founded Shoshes on the internet during a long research. Shoshes is a transliteration of a Yiddish surname. Yiddish? What is that shit? Watch your mouth, dude! My grandparents were Yiddish! Jewish? Yes, they were Yiddish, but they changed their religion. Well, my great-grandparents indeed. Dudes, you are both going off topic. Well, since I had that finding about the 666 gematria word, I have nightmares every day. Shit, you are face to face against the devil, for fuck's sake. But if you found that Shoshes has a 666 value, tell the school chaplain. Go tell the chaplain maybe you will meet Pope Francis. What, Pope Francis? I might be burnt at the stake like a wizard, dude.
You will receive an award for your pseudo-discovery.
The other day I had a nightmare. Bianca took her life in front of me. Dude, Bianca barely knows you exist. And you are dating Rochelle, by the way. Bianca wants me, dude. I see that in her eyes. Dude, leave some chicks for us. What you are doing is monopolizing. About Rochelle, the other day at a party, I kissed her, but that's all. Can we forget all those fantasies? And focus in the nightmare. Bianca told me this at my nightmare.
I will never be yours.
The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 4.
There is something true and a deceit with all this 666 gematria thing. The book of Revelation, the Apocalypse, was written in Koine Greek. So there is not sense that I found a word in Hebrew with a 666 gematria. So, the correct method for Koine Greek is isopsephy and not gematria. But Pythagoras, who was Greek, said that gematria must be done in the native language of the written text or the written stone. So, isopsephy would be for the beast name in Greek and gematria for the Hebrew. But what about Aramaic? That language is really hard to understand, at least for me. So, taking the Hebrew path, the word that I found is pronounced as Shoshes. But Hebrew dictionaries and the Quora rabbi mention that Shoshes ain't a real word. Somehow I found that Shoshes is a German Yiddish surname, and also a variant of the name Sasha. The biotech tycoon Sesam Bar Farange's daughter is called Shoshes Sesengin Bar Faranges. So if the richest man in the world chooses this name for his daughter, it must not be such a weird or inexistent word. The second strange thing is that Shoshes in Hebrew is translated online as Lucius, but placing a word in Google Translator and pretending to give it a mystic meaning is pure nonsense. Somehow Lucius, the wrong translation, was also the name of Roman Emperor Nero Caesar. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus was Nero's name before being the emperor. In the study of Apocalypse or Book of Revelation, there are 4 basic ways of interpretation. Futurism, that focus in what will happen in the so-called end times. Preterism, that states that everything of the apocalypse already happened. Somehow it might be happened symbolically or in a reality allegorically described, or as it is. Through preterism, Nero Caesar fits almost perfectly to the Antichrist figure. By his name, and specifically the number of his name, Nero Kaiser is 666 according to well-known scholars. But in futurism, how Nero would fix? There is a legend of Nero's return. Nero Redivivus is the legend of Lucius returning to the world, but this is a legend only. The third strange thing in this whole situation are my continuous nightmares. First I dream on Judas Iscariot, the apostle that betrayed Jesus.
Peter is for Jesus, what Judas is for.
The Antichrist.
Second, I dreamt of Lucius Malfoy from the Harry Potter book saga. he held a fire serpent crozier or crook.
This is the anathemasim.
Then I dreamt on Nero holding the same fire serpent croys. Well, it seems it has two fire serpents. Then I dreamt on my high school partner Bianca, taking her life in front of me.
I will never be yours.
What this fire serpent means? What do they hold it like a bishop's croix? If the word I found in Hebrew with the 666 gematria is wrong, if its translation is wrong, if the connection between Lucius and the 666 is taken out of context by me, then why all these nightmares? Somehow for me is amazing that this whole madness started just by a single verse of the book of Revelation.
This calls for wisdom. Let him who has understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666. The Antichrist and the Artificial Intelligence. Tale number 5.
Destroy the Nehushtan! Destroy the idol!
And Jesus told Nicodemus, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life.
Mister, I have a question. Have you think the possibility that the brazen serpent is pagan?
Are you saying that I'm teaching you about heathens?
I'm not saying that, but I associate that symbol with ancient Egypt.
Okay, let us hear Joshua Emmanuel Torre's dissertation.
I will quote the Egyptologist Jean-François Champollion. Champollion, quoting Eusebius of Caesarea, said that the ancient Egyptians had a deity which they called Neph or Agatodaimon, being agato, an ancient Greek word for good, and daemon not a demon, but a spirit. The symbol of Neph was a serpent, a coiled serpent. Agatodaimon was also an appellative of Nero Caesar.
I don't know, Joshua, what kind of fiction you are watching. I find senseless any relation between ancient Egypt and the Hebrews, aside of the obvious relation of the Exodus. So, your Champollion's quote that I assume you're inventing has nothing to do with that deity and the brazen serpent. The brazen serpent is a prefiguration of Jesus Christ. I also don't know what Nero, that was Roman, has to do with Egypt. You are mixing Jesus, Nero, ancient Egypt, and Moses in one. That's senseless.
I didn't mention Jesus. You did it, sir. Since the beginning.
Okay, Joshua. I will talk to the high school chaplain. And you will have to bring your both parents here. Otherwise, you will have a disciplinary sanction.
Even I showed my religion teacher the pictures that justified my statements. I will have to go to high school with both my parents. This is a common way of punish here in Ecuador.
the Antichrist, and the artificial intelligence. Tale number 6.
Being hermeneutics, the art of interpreting communication related with theology and philology, which is a deep understanding of a language. I will apply both a literal interpretation and the spiritual one with pro-commentators. Saint Irenaeus, who lived circa 125 AD, on his book Against Heresies, said that the 616 was a copyist mistake, emphasizing that it is better to await the prophecy fulfillment, rather than reckoning the beast's name by its number. Ivanthus, Latinos, and Titan, which is Titan, were the names in Greek with an isopsephy value of 666. Ancient Romans, according to Irenaeus, called the sun as Titan. According to Irenaeus, the apocalypse was written circa the 96 AD. So if the number reckoning would have been a matter of importance, they would have already known the beast's name at the 1st century AD. 666 being the number was also told by Polycarp to Irenaeus. Saint Polycarp was a disciple of Saint John the Evangelist. Modern commentators say that the 666 is a reference to Nero Kaiser, the Roman emperor. Some Catholic Bibles even have comments about the Nero legend. You know, that legend circa 68 AD, where Nero resurrects from death. But what about us, here, in Ecuador, South America? This just a mere superstition, that of placing a word at Google Translate to get wrong words? The Ecuadorian author Juan Quiñones Alban says that esoteric knowledge can be learnt through errors. Irrtumancy from irrtum or error in German, and mancy, which is divination. There is something called the spirit of error in the first epistle of St. John. Can the spirit of error manipulate the material reality, including the algorithm of a web app translator? Or these errors, hence my nightmares, are just product of my self-suggestion? I rearranged the Hebrew word with the 666 gematria and I found some interesting things. The word pronounced as shus and translated into shasu but misspelled, hence incorrect. Shasu were a tribe of nomads. Some of them also worked as mercenaries for Asiatic and Egyptian armies. Somehow it seems that I am not the first one with this shoshes, shus, shaso thing. I found a letter in a magazine from the 19th century about this. I searched also the meaning of anathemism, that word I dreamt of. Anathemism is self-destruction in something called chaos magic. Am I going towards my own anathemism? What motivates me to know these type of things? Also, my recommendation algorithm is scary and dark. Since this madness started, I only see recommendations of horror movies. Also, I see people speaking about real diabolical possessions, exorcisms, people talking on how dangerous is learning esoteric knowledge and believing in the occult. That's the reason why I started distrusting in my cell phone and its internet algorithm.
Jane! Help me. Snibra!
You know what is funny about Allan Kardec? Allan Kardec said that God is the supreme intelligence.
Damien, I don't know what is funny about that.
Imagine a machine so powerful and intelligent that could surpass the supreme intelligence. Based on that, if Jesus has his Antichrist, God would have his anti-theos.
Damien, that is a hypothetical scenario?
Of course, Professor, that is a fictional case.